Welcome to Midway Minute, everybody. My name is Scott Coral. He is Kevin Kaduk. And the world was shook after the Bears came back from a 26-10 deficit to beat the Atlanta Falcons in Week 3, 30-26. Kevin, the ground shook when Trubisky gave way to Foles. And wow.
Nick Foles has entered the chat. I don't know. I sat here last week and said, we cannot keep doing this every week, and they did it to us again. They are somehow 3-0, and we're supposed to be sitting here doing grades. And each time we've done this, it's just like, well, they were terrible then, and then they were great again, and we're going to do it again. So should we just throw out the grades for this week or what? And just talk this game?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, Trubisky, as we mentioned, gave way to Nick Foles. And then Nick Foles went out and threw for 188 yards and 5 TDs, but 2 of them were overturned by review. Still, what a game to come back. Inexplicable.
Yeah, obviously it was against the Falcons, and we had been waiting for that all game. And 3 quarters of the way through it, you're thinking, how can Matt Nagy, the offensive genius, have 10 points to show against this depleted Falcons, defense? And I'm sitting here writing, okay, well, I'm writing the Matt Nagy obit, I'm writing the Ryan Pace obit, I'm writing the Mitch Trubisky obit. And now we're sitting here, they're 3-0, and yeah, they haven't looked great, and yeah, they might still be the biggest fraud team of the 3-0s, but you bought yourself time. And I just saw someone on Twitter say, look, I think it was Mark Lazarus from The Athletic. You switched quarterbacks, and you still got a victory out of it. Like, your one quarterback played so poorly, and you switch, and you still got to win. So overall, it's a W.
How? Maybe here's the next question: do you ever go back to Mitch Trubisky? Accepting injury.
Yeah, and obviously that's. I think this offensive line, I think that's still on the table because that offensive line didn't do Mitch Trubisky a lot of favors. Foles almost got decapitated on one of the plays, but no, I mean Nick Foles is obviously the starter for Week 4. You give him the game plan and see what he can do. We were talking at halftime right after Trubisky overthrew Anthony Miller at the end of the first half. Trubisky just doesn't have the deep ball right now. He's not stretching the field. What we saw with Nick Foles is that he was. So you'd go back to Hallis Hall, you install that game plan, and see what Foles can do next weekend. And honestly, this is why they brought in Nick Foles. So you could actually do stuff like this if Trubisky falters. And credit to Matt Nagy for making the call at the right time.
You know, the one thing that I was thinking really for the last 2 years, the defense is built to have a lead. And that's something that they've rarely had with Trubisky at quarterback, where the defense in 2018, the defense was still carrying the Bears on both ends of the ball. So, now there might be a chance with Nick Foles, the way he came back in this one, maybe there's a chance that we might actually see who the Bears really are.
Well, there's hope, and halfway through this game, there wasn't any. I was ready. I said, "Oh, why can't the Bears ever not embarrass us?" And they keep on, they make it embarrassing to be a Bears fan, and somehow they fought back. It's just crazy. They still have not beaten a good team. That much we can say.
That's very true. The good thing I think about what we did see was there's still a lot to like with this Bears team. You just want them to put it together, as we said with Trubisky, across 4 quarters on one day. That's all we need. One day's worth of putting everything together.
Yeah. Let me ask you this real quickly. What's one thing you loved, one thing you didn't?
It's hard to put the one thing you didn't, because there's plenty I didn't like. One thing I loved, the fourth quarter, I think, effort from the Bears. I think the effort in that fourth quarter was pretty amazing. And maybe after Foles came in, maybe that was that energizing moment. The one thing I didn't like, probably the effort from the Bears when Foles wasn't in there. And I will add, the refs weren't good either. Mm-hmm. So let us put that on the table as well.
No.
But the same question for you.
I still don't understand the call on. Yeah. Well, obviously, I like that this team, hasn't quit at all. They have not shown any quit. I did like the way the defense showed up in the fourth quarter. And, whereas the Giants and Lions game, they let it get down and they really cut it close to the bone. They stepped up and made plays. Matt Ryan had as many touchdowns as Mitch Trubisky in this game. So they did what they had to do. I'd like to see more of that. Khalil Mack, and there was more pressure. Akeem Hicks had some push, so I did like that. What I didn't like was, the Tariq Cohen. I think kind of going forward, that one has the most lasting. I mean, he might be an ACL. He hobbled off the field. That didn't look good. You just gave him guaranteed money. So I think the Tariq Cohen injury going forward has the longest impact.
And maybe Cordero Patterson has to take that Tariq Cohen place. I don't know if you want to give him as many touches as Cohen would have had, but he might be worth a try. I think under these circumstances, you might as well just throw out the playbook and just say, let's just do what we can do.
Yeah, we already see problems with the depth on defense, and now if you start to challenge the depth on offense, which obviously running back was already a pretty shallow position, that's going to create some problems. So, but up next week is the Indianapolis Colts, and then a short 4 days, and Tom Brady comes to town. So, but they're 3-0, so who knows?
3-0 is still something to be reckoned with. No matter what, they're still 3-0. The Vikings lost today; they're 0-3. There's still plenty to enjoy here with what could be a 3-game lead in the NFC North.
All right. I want to give a shout out to my uncle who is, as soon as that game was over, he texted me, said that win was for Gale Sayers. So I don't know if it was or wasn't, but I'm willing to go with it. Almost reminds me of remember Walter Payton died, the game up in Green Bay, the miracle Brian Robinson blocked field goal. So it's kind of interesting there. So anyhow, you can read more about this in tomorrow's Midway Minute. Sign up at midwayminute.win. Obviously a huge week going into Indianapolis and the baseball playoffs start. So hope to see you in your inbox tomorrow.